Happy New Year, gems, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jemima. Welcome. I want to use my channel to share my story and my experiences. You know, things that I wish I knew before I got my neck stuck in a couple of things. You've already read the title. It's going to be all about red flags. We're going to share all of that here because I feel like some things you can't quite put your finger on it, but if you do not pay attention to these flags beforehand, it literally turns into this monster later down the line. So that's why it was literally impressed upon my heart to share this. So yeah, before we get into that, you probably haven't subscribed. 80% of the people who watch my videos have not subscribed. You're probably one of them. Don't be one of them. Could you kindly hit the subscribe button? Let's get right into the video. Actually, before I get into the video, my 2019, was I the only one who had such a turbulent 2019? Like, I had so many breakups, breakthroughs, breakdowns, rejection, oh my god, betrayal. And, okay, it wasn't all doom and gloom. It was mostly doom and gloom, but I also got I met some really amazing people. I experienced some new things that I'd never experienced in my 30 years. Yeah, and it's definitely made me see myself in a different light. Things that I never knew, you know, about myself. And these are things I just need to share because I would be doing myself a disservice, as well as someone, even if it's one person, I would be doing you a disservice if I don't share this with you. Yeah, I don't want you to go through that. If you want to go through it, yeah, you know, listen to this so that you can make an informed decision, okay? The disclaimer is this. I'm not sharing this so that you go and dump the person you're with or you cut people off or anything like that. No, it's for you to ask the necessary questions, gain the knowledge that you need to make an informed decision so that if you want to take the next step with someone in your life, then at least you know, you are aware of these red flags, okay? I went into these things blinded, you know, therefore I was blindsided by a whole load of things. But you know, if I'm able to share it with you and you are able to say, okay, I know this is a red flag, but I don't mind dealing with this, okay? So aside from all that, 3 main things that I learned from my 2019 before I go into the video, you will want to hear this, okay? You cannot, okay? You cannot change someone by loving them harder. Hey, a little bit louder for the people in the back. That was all I was doing. Because, you know, you always think people want the best for themselves as well. But anyway, that's for a different story. That was number 1. Number 2, closure comes from within, okay? Not from the person who hurt you. It literally comes from you. The peace that you seek, you are the only person that can give that peace to, okay? The peace you seek is within. You need to start from healing yourself, okay? If you keep looking at the circumstances and the people who hurt you and wanting them to make the move before you start your healing process or before you get the closure, my dear friend, 2020 will be a waste, okay? And number 3, forget or disregard somebody's potential. Accept them for who they are, the person who's right in front of you, the attitude, the behavior, the character that they're showing you. That is who the person is, not the potential that you have built in your head, okay? Please hear me out. That alone is a red flag. But yeah, I'm passionate about this topic because I don't want to see my young brothers and my young sisters, even my adults, you know, suffering and going through these things because I didn't share my story or my experiences. So I hope you hear that out. I'm sure it resonates with you. If it does, don't forget to comment down below your experience as well. Let's get a dialogue going. All right, so red flags. I'm sure you all know what red flags are. These are alarming behaviors or characteristics in your significant other or the person that you're dating or trying to get to know. Even in your family relations. But for the purposes of this video, it's mainly romantic relations, you know, people that you're going out with, you're dating, seeking to marry. I feel like these red flags are things that I wish I knew were red flags from before. They're so subtle, they're so just subpar, they're really low. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it can turn into this monster way down the line, and that's what I want to share with you. So hang on with me. I'm gonna give you a whole 10, okay? A whole 10. And it's in no particular order. I just want to give them to you and then you can see how it's with you. One is not greater than the other. I'm just giving them all to you. Okay? So if you love what you see, don't forget to subscribe. Now into the intro. Okay, so I'm back and I just felt like my lip gloss was just everywhere. So I went to reduce it because, yeah, it was a little bit too much for me. And the last thing I want is to be distracting from the content that I'm about to share. So I do apologize, and I'm really grateful that you've stayed and you weren't so distracted by my alarming lips. But anyway, so getting into the red flags. These aren't for you to just run away. This is for you to make an informed decision, okay? So that you can observe, you can open your eyes and you can see these characteristics for what they really are and then ask the necessary questions, okay? That's why I'm saying them. So it's not going to be like if someone does A, kick them off, it's a red flag. It's going to be like a collective. If someone does da 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 da, it can mean da 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 da. I hope that makes sense. I really do. Anyway, observation number 1. Do you notice that this person is never really present? It's like their mind is always somewhere else. When you're talking, their mind is not really following you. If you finally say something like, did you hear what I said? Sometimes they might say something like, yeah, I heard what you said. And they might even be able to say it verbatim. But the real essence that you were trying to communicate in that moment, they may have missed. Okay, I have experienced this where this person that I was dating at that time would brush it off as, oh, I heard what you said. Yeah, you said X, Y, and Z. And then because they said exactly what I was saying, I thought that they understood the meaning behind my words. So later down the line, this can manifest itself in various ways. They can become quite controlling because they feel like they know you. They know exactly what you're going to say. They know how you're going to react. So they kind of check out. They check out from the conversation, and eventually you become less of a priority because they feel like they know what you are about. So let's say you're a person who you're trying to grow and you don't want to be in this box that they've put you in, and you're trying to change because this person feels that they can control, they know you enough to control your setting. When you try to break free from the box they've tried to put you in, it's like, oh no, you're not like that. Oh, now you're being dramatic. So yeah, just be mindful of someone who, when you're talking to them, they've got their phone out, they're typing as you're talking, you're thinking, are they really listening to me or are they not? So you further ask them, did you hear what I said? They say yes, they're able to say everything verbatim. Just don't take it as face value, explore that. Just ask them, okay, yes, that is what I said, but what do you think that means? When you ask that question, it will stop them within their tracks and it will let them think. And then that's where you can make your informed decision if the meaning you were trying to communicate, if they got that point. I really hope that you understood what I'm saying. Let me see if I can give you an analogy. A bit of a personal one. On a particular day, I was in the hospital with a nerve pain. If you know anything about sciatic pain, that's what I had. And basically, I was with my significant other at that time, the person that I was dating at that time. He was there accompanying me at the hospital because I needed the support. I was in immense pain and I needed all the support that I could get from my loved ones. Okay, so when we got to the doctor's office, the doctor was checking me out and was saying, what's wrong with you? And I said, I'm just having a lot of pain and I believe it's sciatic pain because I did the research and I saw it on Google. It said it was sciatic nerve pain. So when I got in there and they asked me, I just said it's a sciatic pain and I really need help relieving it because I'm in too much pain. The minute I mentioned sciatic pain, Mr. in the corner whips out his phone. He's on his phone. Cut the long story short, literally the duration of the whole visit, like the whole hospital visit, the appointment, which was about probably 30 minutes to an hour, practically on his phone. On his phone, looking around in the room, just not really present and in that room. The support that I really needed, I wasn't really getting it. Now there, I could have flipped the handle because it was unfair, because I know the type of person I am and how I'm always present for someone. I make a conscious effort to do that, but I didn't want to overreact. So when we were going home, I brought up the conversation about, his phone, and I said, babe, what was that you were doing on your phone? And he was like, oh, I was looking up sciatica. And I said, oh, okay. You were on the phone for a whole hour, like pretty much the duration of the entire appointment. It's like you weren't really there in the room, even though you were there. It's like you were checked out. And I proceeded to say how it made me feel and how I would have loved him to have, maybe held my hand because I was going through such a tough time. And his answer was, why are you trying to change me? Why are you trying to change me? You knew I was like this. I've always been like this. Why are you trying to change me? And I was kind of like, I'm not trying to change you. I know that I can't change anyone. However, I'm very accommodating and I'm very understanding. And I explained to him that surely, that this is a time that, you can show your support and all of that. And he was like, I've always been like this. So why are you trying to change me? And I had to think to myself, have you really been like this? Why would I be with someone like this? And then I realized it's because in the beginning of our relationship, he was always checked out. Like you're talking to him and his mind is somewhere else. And he used to always say something like, yes, because I already know what's going to happen, or I know you so well. I know what you're going to say. And then you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, then he knows what's happening. But later down the line, that's how it looked like, because I didn't ask those questions. I didn't communicate my expectations beforehand. So that's why I gave you this scenario, because again, this video is not going to be like X equals red flag, Y equals go ahead. It's not going to be like that. It's just going to give you an overall picture of someone who isn't present, and then you can make your own informed decision. I hope that's making sense. Now, observation number 2, I would say, is someone who is emotionally unavailable, or in other words, they're quite immature when it comes to their emotions. Men rarely want to admit that, they have emotions and they have feelings, and they rarely want to admit that sometimes they can get quite controlled by their feelings. Okay. They often think that they're quite disconnected from it because that makes them all macho. But true masculinity is someone who is disappointed, is stressed, but still remains on top of their emotions. So just keep an a vigilant eye for someone who, if they face, you know, stress at work, stress at home, you know, anywhere, wherever they find themselves, they don't overreact. Anger isn't the issue, it's overreacting, you know? How do they deal with change? How do they deal with uncertainty? How do they deal with disappointments in their life? Do they sulk? Do they project their anger on you? Do they blame you for those issues coming on in their lives? Do they take any accountability for those emotions or situations? With this person, if they fail, is absolutely fatal. So be very mindful of these people. They will come for you with everything they have, okay? These people are very critical of themselves, so they need someone to project that frustration on, so you will be that emotional punching bag for such a person. So just be observant. How does this person deal with uncertainty? You know, stuff like that. When they're frustrated, how do they react? Do they respond or do they react? You want someone who will respond, because responding means that they've thought the emotion through and now they're responding to it. So with gentleness, with kindness, with caution. Whereas someone who reacts is in a way justifying the emotional punching bag. Basically, you are to blame for X, Y, and Z. That's why I'm reacting like X, Y, and Z. So there's no accountability there. So just be aware of that. I really hope I've explained this properly. This person is not emotionally secure enough to handle their own disappointments, as in the disappointments in their life. And the fact is, we can only become compassionate when we can handle failure and disappointments in our own lives. So for someone who cannot handle those things, that means that person cannot be compassionate to you. They cannot show empathy to you because they're busy projecting onto you, or they're busy blaming you. So they don't have any part to play in it. They have no blame in there. I hope this is making sense. Observation number 3, I would say look out for how they treat the females in their life. Of course, I'm talking about if your significant other is a male and you're a heterosexual. Oops. Yes, how do they treat the females, well, the women in his life? The mother, sister, all of that. Be very, very observant of that, because that is a clear indication of how they will treat you. Again, I'm not saying that this is all black and white. Some people didn't have good upbringings with their parents, you know, narcissism and all of that. That doesn't mean that they will always treat you, the wife, or you, the girlfriend, a certain way. But just be mindful, be observant of these things, because these are the things I never even thought about these things. That's why I'm telling you now, because it's an issue. If this person, the guy you're with, doesn't speak well of their mum, or doesn't speak about their mum or their sister or their aunties like ever, or in a good light, just be careful. There may be some childhood trauma that they are trying to suppress. So anytime you do something that reminds them of their upbringing, the frustration they would have wanted to give to their mum, their auntie, or their sister, they will project onto you. Sometimes the person you're with might just be angry out of the blue. You're thinking, what did I do? Put 2 and 2 together. It may be their upbringing, his upbringing, or her upbringing. I'm just gonna stick to males for now. If you're a male and you're watching, please, you know, just put female there, okay? But yeah, just be very, very mindful of that. For me, okay, one guy that I was dating, I didn't even know he had a sister. I did not know he had a sister. And then later down the line, when I realized he had a sister and I got talking with the sister, I realized that's why he doesn't talk about the sister. Is because she really knows how he is. So yeah, get to talking. Just be very, very observant of how he treats people. And some people are very clever. They can talk very highly of their family. And you might think, okay, maybe everything is fine. Just watch how they talk about other females, other women, just generally. Using words like hoes, bitches, whatever. I really hope YouTube doesn't demonetize this. But yeah, using words like that to describe other females, just to make their point, be very careful of that. Because next minute, when you do anything along those lines, you're going to be that hoe, that bitch, that everything. Okay? I've been called everything under the sun just because I thought I'll just bring something up. Like, babe, this didn't feel quite right to me. You bitch! Yeah, so just be very careful of that. I'm sure I've made this point very clear. This observation is more of if you're progressing into the whole marriage and stuff like that. Just check, open your eyes and see how like their expectations of what a man is in the household or in the marriage and what a woman is in the marriage. So the roles, observe it and ask questions, because this person that you're with might be the type that literally doesn't do anything around the house. It's a woman's job, or this is a man's job. So things are like really black and white, and never if babe you're unwell, let me help you here. Even you're not unwell, let's just share the chores or stuff like that. So whatever partnership you have, if you're dating a guy or whatever, just be aware of these things. If you realize all the things that are happening around the house, like the daily upkeep, finances, 50-50, like you're paying rent, he's paying some, when you're splitting the bill, everything is 50-50. Maybe in your partnership or in your marriage, things will be a little bit half and half when it comes to finances and stuff. But when it comes to, let's say, household stuff, or when the kids coming, dealing with the kids, taking them to nursery, bathing them, bedtime, it may all become a woman's job. And that's when mental load becomes a thing. The guy that you're dating, what is his expectation of the woman in the marriage or in the relationship? So make sure that is very, very clear and that you want to fit that mold. And if it's not clear or you don't like any of them, ask the questions there and there, or else you are going to end up being the person shouldering pretty much everything. The masculine woman doing everything when you want to be pampered and all of that. You won't have time to be pampered because you're busy trying to pay the bills, clean the house, change the nappy, bathe the child, and the list goes on. You tend to become bitter, haggard. You have no time for yourself because you're busy looking a hot mess. You're drained mentally, emotionally, and you have no time for self-love or self-care. So again, just be mindful of these things and aware of them. Ask the questions so that doesn't happen to you. The last thing you want is a bitter woman, a resentful woman, or just a resentful anything. Okay? So I'm just trying to save lives here. All right? Ask the questions. I've experienced it firsthand. That's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Okay? Other observation is forgiveness. What does forgiveness mean to this person? Okay, this is a loaded one. When you do something, do they hold grudges? Do they wait for you to make the first move before they let it go? Is it a tit for tat relationship? Beware. Because their forgiveness 2020, we're going to talk properly. Their forgiveness is solely dependent on you, and If your behavior doesn't change, they are not forgiving you. Whereas forgiveness is all about you, as in even you, the offended, the person who you've been offended. You need to make that decision that, you know what, I'm going to let this pain go. I'm going to forgive this person. I'm going to apply grace here, because we're all human and we all make mistakes. That should be the approach. That should be the behavior that you're looking forward to, rather than, you did me this. If you don't apologize or if you don't make things right, I'm not talking to you. And this childish tit for tat behavior. Ooh, no. Another observation is, how quick or willing is he to hear your needs and also put an action plan in place to help meet those needs, okay? It's one thing to hear your needs, and it's another thing to put an action in place to make that that need met. Now, this can manifest itself in many ways. First off, if the person you're with, you cannot bring your needs or your concerns to the table without walking on eggshells, that is a number one red flag, people. Number one red flag, please. That one is just black and white. If you can't talk freely about your needs, your wants, your concerns to this person, that is just bombshell red flag, okay? And then after that, if you can bring it up to the attention, but this person is all about the talk but not much about the action, that is also a red flag that you need to explore. Find out why they're not putting an action in place. Are they just procrastinating? Are you just not the top of their priority list? Ask the questions. Find out which part of the list you're at. Here or up here, you know? Just find out those answers so that you know that this person, you're bringing the needs to their attention and they're able to meet those needs. And even if they don't have the answer, they're able to be empathetic and explain why they can't help you meet that need, you know, just so that you're satisfied at the end of the day. It's not every need that they're going to do. They're not a genie in a bottle, okay? You have to be quite accommodating here. It's you give, I give sort of relationship, but it's just asking the right questions so that you can make an informed decision, okay? The next observation is, how do they deal with vulnerability? Just observe. Do they feel uncomfortable when someone is expressing vulnerability? You know, oversharing a little bit? Do they cringe? You're like, ooh, what's this? Please don't tell me that. Ooh. It freaks them out. Just beware, because, you know, life is full of ups and downs. You will come to a point where you might be really low. And if the person you're intimate with, you cannot share these vulnerable moments, you know, unstripped moments with them, that is a problem, because that's when temptations come. You start to confide in people who are your friends, maybe opposite sex, and then sex happens. Because the person that you wanted to bear it all with, you just don't feel that, you don't feel like you can bring anything to them, and then they're not that receptive of your vulnerability. So just be aware of that as well. I know that men tend to be quite objective in their reasoning and, you know, the way they see things. But the true problem is apparent, yeah, when the man just cannot seem to tolerate or accommodate any expression of emotions. That is a problem, because in your life, as I said, there will be ups and downs, and you need someone who's emotionally stable enough to be able to, you know, take on that vulnerability, or at least allow you to be that vulnerable with them. And, you know, it really makes intimacy grow when you can really be like yourself, raw, unfiltered with the person you love. That is, I think that's like one of the best feelings, you know, because when you're done, you can like make up and all of that, and it's great. So imagine if you're unable to do this with, you know, have these conversations with the person you love, and you go and share it with someone of an opposite sex, maybe at work or whatever. That's how flings and all of those start, because someone just listened to you, and now you're feeling all types of way. You know what I mean. Another observation, are you always defending yourself and your actions? What I mean is, everything you say is like you have to back it up with the reason why you're doing it. You have to be aware of people who manipulate. I've experienced life with a narcissist before. I've dated one in my past, and I always used to find that anything I brought up, even if it was a concern, there was a way that they were able to flip it so that I was defending myself. So the attention moved from my concern to now defending myself. That meant that the concern will be left and unattended until the next time that concern arises again, and then I'll be defending myself again, meaning the problem just keeps on going and going and going. And the thing is, they're very, very smart in doing this, because you don't realize that you're always defending yourself. And then if you're having to like rehearse what you're saying, what you want to say before you say it. I remember, oh God, I used to type up what I was going to say, make sure that I'd filtered it out, okay? Filtered it out, and then made sure that the points were very, very objective, okay? I mean, bullet points. And before I brought it up to their attention, and these were my concerns, and somehow it's able to flip back onto me. It's like everything is blown out of proportion, and it's like, what were we talking about again? The point has been shifted to something totally off track. So be very mindful of that. I'm so sorry. Someone is calling. And another observation I would say, someone who's sorry, the word sorry, apology, is not in their vocabulary. I dated some guy, yeah. This guy told me that they only say sorry when they feel remorse. Now you might think that this is, you know, that's fine, you know, they feel remorse, so they'll say sorry. But the thing is, if you're dealing with someone who only says sorry or is only apologetic when they feel remorse, and if they never feel remorse, that means you're always having to pick up the pieces and literally move on from a sorry you never got. And when you're in a relationship with someone like this, it can get quite draining. That is a problem. That is a problem. You have to apologize when the person you have offended has brought the need or the concern to your attention that you hurt me in this way. A normal person will say, I see why that would hurt you. Okay, I really do apologize for doing that or making you feel that way. I will do my best next time. Not, another story time. I remember, oh my God, you guys are probably going to think, what kind of man have you been dating? Don't worry. Things have changed, okay? That's why I say I'm going to share my story. One guy that I was dating, literally, yeah, apology, sorry is just not in his vocabulary. One time he disrespected me by calling me names, and I called him out on it, and I said, do you know what? I don't like you calling me that name, so don't call me by that name, and I need you to apologize for that, or don't talk to me. Guess which route they took? They took the route of not talking to me. Yep. This person didn't talk to me for 3 days, and then had the audacity to say, oh, I haven't forgotten about that apology. And me being so patient, people who know me know I'm very patient. Stupidly patient, okay? That's changing as well. Only apply grace when you've earned it, okay? Anyway, this person literally came to me and was like, yeah, so for that other day, yeah, I'm sorry, innit? And I was like, you're sorry for what? Yeah, you said that I should apologize for something. And I was like, yeah, but what are you apologizing for? I don't know. That's what this person said. I don't know. And then I said, it's because you called me X, Y, and Z. That's why I said apologize. And a normal person would be like, oh yes, I'm really sorry. No. This person was like, no, I didn't. I didn't say that. That's gaslighting right there. But anyway, that's for another video. They blatantly looked me in the eye and said, I didn't say that. And I said, oh, really? Okay, that's fine. And they were like, okay, bye. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Someone who cannot say sorry can look like that later down the line. Anyway, I've spoken for a very long time. I hope you're still with me, and I hope you got something out of this long ass video. And I really hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Alright. Until next time, take care and God bless. Bye.